UNICEF Ventures team, especially our frontier tech team and blockchain leads sitting in this room as well, have been exploring blockchain use cases since 2016. We have tried to go slow and cautiously, of course, but we spent a lot of time in building our own capacity in understanding the technology, how we could use the technology for different use cases for UNICEF. And we're very excited to see that we're now seeing actually blockchain use cases for climate. And you're going to hear now from two of our startups, as well as Hanna on just our crypto fund from UNICEF perspective. And this panel will be moderated with Taira Ishikura from the Ethereum Foundation, also a long-standing partner of the UNICEF crypto funds. So I'll welcome on stage we have Watson from eSusFarm, coming from Uganda. We then are also joined by Luuk, who is from ZedLabs, coming here from Trinidad and Tobago. Taira, over to you, please.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Taira. I'm really excited to moderate this panel on climate and blockchain. I come from the Ethereum Foundation. If you're not too familiar with Ethereum, you can think of it as a popular blockchain platform where anyone can create different applications, whether it's digital assets, voting, IDs, and many, many others. And at the Ethereum Foundation, I'm part of what we are calling Team Next Billion. Blockchain is not only hard to understand, but it is very misunderstood. And our goal at Team Next Billion is to find and amplify stories of Ethereum and blockchain, helping some group of people in a tangible way somewhere in this world. Personally, I love stories. I live for stories, and I'm really looking forward to hearing the stories from the three wonderful panelists we have here. So now, I'd like to open by asking Hanna if you could please introduce yourself and then talk a bit about the crypto fund's perspective and experience. What is the intersection between blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and climate? What has been interesting to the crypto fund looking at this intersection?
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Hanna Burkhardt. I'm working here in the Office of Innovation in Stockholm. I lead the Venture Fund since April this year. And I think to start talking about the crypto fund, it's also to put it in the perspective, it's a part of the Venture Fund. And it's something that was developed and launched in 2019. And very much thanks to the help and guidance from Ethereum Foundation. So I think you know more about this work than I do. But it was really quite a lot of work to set this up, to be honest, and hearing the stories from the colleagues. And not just because it was the first and still the only mechanism in the UN system to both receive, hold, and disperse cryptocurrency. But I mean, UN and UNICEF, it's a big organization, so there's a lot of battles as well to be fought to make this happen. But it was really important for us to build this in-house with help, to also have that knowledge and build that capacity to be able to learn from this. So I think that's just important as a starting of what the crypto fund was about and how it came. And I mean, the linkage to climate action is also, there are many, just like other use cases as well. But for us, it's been a lot linked to the technology and the transparency on the one hand and the accountability that comes with that, but also the speed. So examples could be, for example, in humanitarian aid, where you have climate disasters, natural catastrophes, where you need to get money fast from us to the people that really need it. And there we see huge potential. And that can also be linked to certain other technologies, right? And that's when it gets interesting. You can also see, for example, platforms, transparent, say, platforms of carbon credit, other use cases, And I'm not going to go too much into the details because I think we have 2 panelists here that can talk a lot more on actually the in-depth usage. But yeah, for us, it's been really key also in order to prepare UNICEF, UN, and the rest in terms of the digital financial future as well, and be prepared for that.
Yeah, thanks. If you haven't looked at the website of the UNICEF Crypto Fund, I highly recommend you go to it. You can see, on what day, how much went to what companies, and that's the next generation transparency, right? Yeah, awesome, thanks. Now I'd like to ask Luuk and Watson to introduce yourselves and also introduce the problem you're trying to solve. Maybe before going into the solutions you're building, I'd love to know more about the context of the problem and around why your project even exists.
Awesome, thank you. So my name is Luuk Weber. I was born and raised in the Caribbean, in Curacao. My partner here, Mark, comes from Trinidad. So we both come from very small islands. As a result of that, we are very dependent and influenced by international markets and international challenges. Financial challenges, but especially climate challenges. But being a small island, our role and influence is shaping those global phenomena is very minimal, to the point that we often feel underpowered and we can't do anything. We're just dependent on them and they decide how our future plays out. This is especially the case for the youth, because the youth are becoming more and more aware of the global challenges. I'll have children of 5, 6, 7 years old and think, oh, the climate is going down, oh, we're going to burn. But not having a single way to take action, not having the capacity, the skills, the knowledge, the network to do something about it. And that's where Collectivo comes in, leveraging blockchain, bringing these opportunities that we have created here in the Global West and enabling them to build solutions from the inside out instead of having to wait and be dependent on our foreign aid.
Good day, everybody. My name is Vuyo Matsa. I'm from Africa. I don't know which part, though. It's everywhere. So I'm from the South Africa area, but we work in South Africa, Swaziland, Uganda, and now Nigeria. I'm a grandchild of a smallholder farmer. My grandparents still farm to today. Also, my chairman's grandparents still also farm to today. He's at the back there recording. We both then, went to school, and then we went to Ivy League schools in the South. My grandparents are still farming today, still today. But we realized that there's a big problem. We're from banking backgrounds, so we can't even help them with loans. They always argue, why can't you give me a loan? I'm like, I can't. You don't have a credit record. And you find like all these challenges still exist for over 30 years plus, right? And then you realize that, you know what, you're not doing enough to help those communities back then. And then you think about solutions to help them, right? So I think with climate change being so prevalent right now, you want to see how you can protect your grandmother's crops, right? It's what she does every day, right? So she wakes up, she goes to her field, it gives her exercise. She's like almost 80 years old, you can imagine. And so this farming vocation is what keeps her going. It's what took my father to school. He forgets this, but I remember. You realize that if you're not going to make solutions that are going to help smallholder farmers become more resilient, you're going to have a big situation in terms of increased poverty. So we came up with a solution to climate-proof smallholder farmers through climate disasters using blockchain technology and parametric insurance combined. And this sort of solution basically allows farmers to get basically payouts within like 24 hours. Versus right now, payouts can go for as long as 3 months to 5 months. And you can imagine if you get a payout that long, you may not be able to replant in the next farming season. So it sort of increases the cycle of poverty. And we want to break that chain. Apart from insurance, we have a whole suite of other solutions. We want to really, provide an end-to-end platform that really helps a smallholder farmer without him having to go anywhere else. but we felt as if blockchain insurance really provides the transparency, the speed, and the necessary solution to help those that don't have access to these new technologies. So these communities that we are seeing are left out in terms of the new age technologies. And we have built a solution that is free to use for them to get access to services. And this allows them to sort of leapfrog, right? 30 years later to say, you know what, I'm a smallholder farmer in the middle of nowhere, but I can get insurance. And if anything happens, I can get an immediate payout without needing a third-party assessor. And you're looking at a field where 97% of smallholder farmers cannot afford it, and 97% of smallholder farmers don't have access to it. So our baseline is 0, right? So any increase, even 10%, will make a very big difference. And then thereafter, we'll help them get loans, get markets, and any other fun things we can find to do. Thank you.
Thank you. So Luuk, maybe you can talk about Colectivo a bit. The solution you're building. Now that we understand where you come from, small islands, little resources, youths.
Awesome, yeah, I'll do that. So what we're trying to do is really build capacity from the inside out and capacity to have a positive impact. And we do that by creating what we call local impact economies or local regenerative economies. So the vision really is that with every time that the community builds capacity, realizes impact, that they're able to benefit from that impact and circulate it back into development to continue to build more positive developments. So we're looking really into programs, for example, the one we're building together with UNICEF Ventures in Trinidad, where we're training the youth to participate in agroforestry and climate action. We have the traditional nonprofit NGOs organizing these programs and allowing these trained up youths to participate in the solution, earning points and earning community currencies, which the youth can then spend at local merchants for goods and services. So we're increasing their ability to learn and earn, but not in a random way, just learn any skill, but learn a skill that is going to help Trinidad or any country in the world move forward. So currently we're live in 2 places, about to be in Trinidad and also in Curacao, but we're already seeing more and more demand from other places, especially that share these kind of limitations. That is over oftentimes countries that don't have their own central bank or own currency system. They're dependent on foreign currencies and foreign aid to develop in general. They're unable to print money, unable to kind of progress quickly. It's those countries especially that are coming to us like, hey, we want to build these complementary local impact systems because we understand the value of empowering people on the ground.
Yeah, okay. Luuk, maybe now if I could dig a bit deeper on the blockchain part, there are lots of other tools and technologies, right? There are community currencies that don't use blockchain, for example, and it's very possible to do that. And with that, why blockchain? Like, what makes you want to or need to use blockchain?
It's super straightforward for me. I mean, like I mentioned, we're from remote areas. And despite being geographically somewhat disconnected from the world, there's also limitations in our digital infrastructure, our financial systems, our data pipelines. We don't have much of that. And the beautiful thing that the blockchain does, it equalizes the playing field. Now we can transact and follow the same standards as someone in Silicon Valley. And that is something that is just unimaginably powerful for people. I got to be honest, I don't think that 99.9% of the people that have used the blockchain for, let's call it, more commercial things, have experienced that power. But we have with our team. I've seen people get paid in seconds, which would normally take weeks. I've seen people store, collect, and monetize and verify data that would traditionally be, I wouldn't say corrupted, but people would definitely play around with the numbers. And so it provides a level of access and trust that, especially in these low-trust communities, because they're used to being deprived and used to kind of not having functional systems, it completely changes the playing field and opens, I think you mentioned leapfrog. I think that is the term for us. We don't have an option to stay in the current banking system and, oh, we'll work our way out of, we can't. We need something new. We need a new infrastructure. And for us, for the past 7 years, it has been blockchain, and we're constantly iterating on that.
Gotcha. Now, Watson, if you want to talk about why blockchain of all technologies?
Cool. It's very cool. It's very, very cool. It's a buzzword.
It is a buzzword,
It is the buzzword. I think for us, inclusive insurance is quite interesting. When you have a sector which doesn't have many products in the sector, so insurance for agriculture is very, very new. I think the insurance companies right now across Africa don't participate in insurance for agriculture. So you're finding them trying to partner together and really provide a consortium approach to insurance. This sort of reduces the risk portfolios, right? So if you've got 13 insurance companies coming together to insure one farmer, when the claim comes out, you divide it by 13. So you can imagine that is like more of an easier way for them to enter into the field. But then there's a problem of a single source of truth, right? So you want to ensure that all these 13 people can see the same farmer with one lens in a particular platform that is secure, transparent, and ensuring that everyone can see exactly where the smallholder farmer is, where the claims are, his location, what has happened in that area. So I think for us, the single source of truth becomes quite important. And it drives inclusion, right? So therefore, there's no one dependent on someone to verify data. Everyone can see the same data. So you build trust in that whole community or in the insurance sector, that they can become more relaxed and more able to insure more smallholder farmers. And I think that's why blockchain is important, to build those ramps of trust, and also the business process becomes even more transparent, right? So you know exactly what process is what and when it's happening, and so you increase speed. So speed is a big part of it, and I think when you have that blockchain component, you sort of open up yourself to all of those exciting things.
Yeah. So now we are hearing lots of values, right? Speed, transparency, efficiency, what else? A lot of stuff. And I kind of want to bring that down to the user level. Can you guys talk a little bit about your users and your stakeholders and their journey trying to use your product? One thing I'd say is that one of the toughest things about blockchain is user experience. In different ways, I think blockchain represents a paradigm shift, and with that, it requires a behavioral sort of mindset change. For example, there is no systems administrator at the bank to go to if you lose your private key or password. If you send transaction to a wrong person, you can't reverse it. Yeah. So when all these user sort of UX challenges, how do you try to overcome that when you try to work with your users and stakeholders?
Yeah, so initially it was definitely challenging. I think when we started 6-7 years ago, trying to onboard a grandma into the app was horrible. They would lose their private words and their this and that. But to be very honest, the space is converging to a point where this should not be an issue anymore in a year or two. I've seen it progress from clunky, really sewed together technologies to the platforms they're becoming right now. I really think we're 6 to 12 months away from people not even having to ask this question anymore in a panel, where it's like, blockchains provide value. In the early days, we had XYZ, but now it works, like the internet. So that's maybe one point. The other perspective, I think, is it's definitely a paradigm shift for the existing people living in the existing paradigm. For the younger generation, no paradigm shift. If I play a game and I lose my Roblox, I can't call the Roblox guy, yo, where's my Roblox points? They're used to it. Best case, they get an email and they can submit some text files and they get something back. But they're not. I remember the first time someone asked me, why don't you just call your banker? And I had no clue what they meant. I was like, call my banker? It's an app. Like, who would want a clerk? I'm like, why? I don't want to do that. I want to talk to a person for that stuff. And maybe then a final part is that over the past years, I've learned to not say blockchain and crypto. I think this has been this week, I've heard more blockchain and crypto than I would mention in an average week. And that's because from the outside view, it's a big thing. From the inside, it's not. Just the technology we use to facilitate the impact we want to create. And it's not there because I'm building on blockchain. I want to tell the people. I truly believe we're at the point where these things are solvable and where the value will be front and center and not like the UX challenges, because we're figuring them out.
Good. What's it?
From our side, We've got a big challenge, right, from the digital divide, right? So you're talking about economies that don't have Wi-Fi, right? So they don't understand some of these things. They have got like feature phones, which are black and white phones, right? So it's before smartphones. So you're not talking about UX in terms of smartphone UX as Trinidad. We're a bit more old school. So you're talking about really 3310 back in the day, you know, those kind of phones, and delivering messages in very small characters and ensuring that the farmer can get through a process quite fast. And if you're looking at Africa, we got so many languages, right? So you're looking at even a language barrier, right? So trying to communicate very hard things very easy, and we try to get that right here and there, but it's not an easy thing because at the end of the day, these smaller farmers were using phones only to call, right? So they're only calling with these phones. They didn't even know how to SMS. Let's just start there. So it's a lot of capacity building that we get ourselves involved. We go on the ground. We've got teams across the different continents that we sort of train the farmers to ensure that they can understand slowly how to digitize, right? So I think from a UX perspective, we have made it very easy, but I think it's not about really the UX part. It's more about the understanding of, if I use technology, these are the benefits of it. Right now, the mantra is more of, if I use this thing, I'm going to pay tax. I'm like, no, you're not going to pay tax. You know, that's their thinking. Like, no, you're monitoring me. It's surveillance tech. It's all these big things that they're thinking about because governments have treated these communities very harshly. And we are there to demystify those kind of pre-thought preconceptions. So you're looking at different layers of reteaching, re-educating, and in really ensuring that people understand the value of technology. So I think that is usually our process and our whole thing. So we are teachers first and foremost, and then we are impact creators second. And I think by doing that, we really get to the heart of building community trust. And I think once you've got them, they'll never move really, hey? Because end of the day, your next door neighbor is 2 k's away. So there's not a time that you won't be able to create that trust. So it's about creating really ground truth trust with the solution. And they're quite loyal, the older generation, right? So we find as if that is normally the process. So capacity building is a big part of it. And I think UNICEF brings a lot of skill sets to us in terms of learning the different ways to capacity build and really to bed down technology to that level. And I think that's the big takeaway for us when we are doing this experience. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So I think I have about 4 minutes. So last question to the three of you. We today obviously have a room full of passionate and very skilled and talented and intelligent people here. What can they do for you? Are there challenges or blockers that you're facing? You know, wish list items that you want to share with them, blockers, you know, partnership and investment opportunities, whatever. Let's start with you, Hanna.
I think for us, it's a lot about the collaboration with partners as well, also on a technical level, right? So we have a team and we're working with really smart entrepreneurs, but I think we can all benefit from when smart minds come together, like just a setting like this can spark ideas and also lead to connecting, I mean, not just enriching the team in a sense of thinking about what could be the next thing or what should we be doing differently to have more impact or refine technological development, but also to help the entrepreneurs and like thinking about how can you potentially in your market open some doors or make the connections, right, that they might be needing to do piloting. And so I think that's for us a very important, you know, part and always an ask and an invitation to contribute.
Awesome. I'd start by continue supporting UNICEF Ventures. I really want to take a moment to...
Thank you.
No, really. On this journey of 7 years, we've always been the weird guys in the room. In the blockchain space, why are you doing things physical? That's not efficient. How can you scale that? How can you make money? In the impact world, oh, blockchain, that's bad for climate. It's not. That's done, by the way. Also not the case anymore. We're carbon negative. We've always been the odd dog in the room. Kind of nobody truly understood and appreciated us. This is the first time in that 7-year journey that I felt that people really understand why open source, why impact, why collaboration, why so many things. Like, please keep doing this. I think it's hard to imagine how spot on this has been. And the second part is I truly believe in co-creating solutions. And as I mentioned, we're primarily working in developing emerging countries. We want to find ways to help them realize the impact you want to see, to then be able to work together and get your resources spread out. So if there are specific objectives that you have, visions you have for these emerging markets, skills you would like to build up, things that you think, I think that's the solution, I want to try it out, I'd love to hear what those things are, and then we can try to realize that.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely agree with you. More money is good. Because without money, you can't make the impact, right? So, and that's the honest truth, right? So I think we need to really focus on how do we invest more in these communities? How do we really get the impact there? And I also probably urge, Hanna, maybe for your next session, we go down to Africa. We really do this, or the Caribbean, and we really do this thing at the heart of it all. I think seeing is believing, and I think you guys are doing a great job in the first place. Thank you for even being here, hearing our stories. But definitely there's a lot more to be done in terms of really creating impact. I think the office can be bigger and really include more experts, more people that can assist us get there faster. It's not an easy job to leave a whole banking job and come join a startup with no offices and stuff. You know, it's not an easy thing. But we are truly humbled by your guys' support, and I think a lot more people need this kind of support, Hanna. And I want to say thank you to you and your team. And to the funders and donors, I think increase the zeros. Yeah.
All right, that's a good note to end with. Thank you, Hanna, Luuk, Watson, and also thank you so much to the UNICEF team. I know you guys worked really hard for this event to happen, so congratulations.
And thanks to you, Taira, as well.